What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. All right, so we're going to talk about John Fetterman, and of course, you see Sunny hosting. We're going to talk about the ladies from The View, or The Blind is what I like to call it, where he goes on their show, and they ask him a few questions, and it went in a direction that they did not expect it to go. So I loved watching this. It was absolutely glorious to witness. So we're going to get into two segments. You have Joy Behar asking him a question, and he goes in the opposite direction that she expected. Same with Sunny hosting. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into the clip. But before we do, please hit the like button down below, guys. It really helps the channel out. Of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting subscribe.
Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman has built his political career on calling it like he sees it. And we have a lot to talk to him about right now. So please welcome back Senator John Fetterman.
Okay, I have the first question.
You have the first question.
So, Senator, President Biden's decision to pardon his son Hunter is facing bipartisan backlash. Even the Democrats are all over it. But what do you think? Is this much ado about nothing? It is his son, after all, and people do have sympathy for that. But a lot of people are angry with him about it. What do you say?
Oh, well, I think it's undeniable that the case against Hunter Biden was really politically motivated. But I also think it's true that the trial in New York for Trump that was political as well too. Now it's that, and in both cases, I think a pardon is appropriate. And I really think collectively, America's confidence in these kinds of institutions have been damaged by these kinds of cases, and we cannot allow these kinds of institutions to be weaponized against our political opponents. And it's very clear both trials were politically motivated and weaponized that on the other side.
They'll say that about the J6 people too, though, right? That's what they're going to say on the other side. That is weaponized also.
I'm not referring to that. I'm talking about the New York trial. And now the Democrats on our side there were some that were gleeful, calling it like, now he's a convicted felon and those things. And now for our party, we were talking about criminal justice, and we are now talking about second chances. And now all of a sudden now you're like, well, he's a convicted felon and all these things. And now clearly, again, both of those trials, the Hunter Biden one and the trial in New York for Trump, that was politically motivated. And those kinds of charges would have never been brought unless one side could realize that they could weaponize that.
Yeah, I agree with him. But here's the thing. When people categorize Hunter Biden cases being politically motivated, it's not for the same reasons that it is politically motivated against Trump. When they were going after Trump, they were going after him to literally remove him from running for office. They were trying to basically ruin his political career and trying to lock him up because he was an opponent to them. The reason that Hunter Biden's is quote unquote politically motivated is so that the Biden administration's DOJ doesn't look like they're politically motivated. That's why they went after Hunter, is to say, hey, we're not politically motivated. We're independent. We went after Trump. And look, we went after the sitting president's son. We went after Hunter Biden while also giving him like a sweetheart deal to basically just get a slap on the wrist and let him walk away. And that's when things kind of went south on them, is when the conservative judge turned over the appeal agreement that they had. So when people say that they were both politically motivated, that is, yeah, that might be true. But there's also an underlying reasoning on why they were politically motivated. One was to remove Trump and get him off of the ballots and lock him up. And then one was the other was for virtue, to say, hey, look, we're not partisan. Hey, look, this is what we're doing. This is our job. We're going after anybody that committed a crime. And that's why it was politically motivated. So don't get it twisted, guys.
Senator, many of Trump's cabinet.
All right, so that's the end with Joy, because of course you noticed that she didn't get the answer that she wanted. Now let's go to the segment where Sunny jumps in here, and of course she's gonna try to shame and belittle Trump supporters and Republicans. Check it out.
Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful? And do you think there should also be some soul searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
Wow.
I haven't spent any of my time after the election freaking out or just thinking about. I mean, here's where we are, and I would like to remind everybody that that's the way democracy works. I was warning people that before the election that you have the risk. If Trump wins, then he's going to get the House, he's going to have the Senate, and now you have the Supreme Court with a strong conservative slant now too. So here's we are, and for the next 2 years, Trump and the GOP is going to be able to drive this narrative. That's undeniable. That's a fact as well, too. And the last, kind of like that emergency break right now is the filibuster in the Senate. And then otherwise, they'll be able to just run any kinds of laws through Congress. And now the Supreme Court would likely back them up as well, too.
God.
Senator Fetterman, I enjoyed you on Joe Rogan. I thought you had some really
Did you guys hear Joy in the background when he finishes? She was like, "Oh my God," or she said, "God, listen, just listen closely. This is hilarious." Let me see if I can turn it up a little bit.
God.
Senator Fetterman.
The Supreme Court would likely back them up as well, too.
God.
Senator Fetterman.
She's saying God for one or two reasons. One is probably because she didn't get the answer that she's looking for from Fetterman for her question and for Sonny's question, or she's saying God because she's actually scared of what's gonna happen. Right? These people are hilarious. Let's continue.
I enjoyed you on Joe Rogan. I thought you had some really interesting insights on the election. And one of the things that you've discussed is how Democrats lost some gains that they needed to make with young men across the board. And you said that there was a perception that they could be condescending or insulting. Can you explain what you meant by that? And how do you think Democrats need to be talking to men in a way that perhaps they weren't this cycle?
Well, not in a way that Sonny Hostin was just talking. Right? You see how Sonny was trying to shame and belittle people into why, they voted for a convicted rapist, blah, 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 blah. Stop all of that. Stop all of that.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's become more and more difficult. It forces men to kind of choice, can I really remain a Democrat? And some of the kinds of the tone in those kinds of situations, it's undeniable. I've witnessed that over the last 8 years, and Trump has a really strong connection with a lot of these unions as well now too. And it was very clear that we've lost a lot of that. That migration has already been well underway, and here we are now. And now whether it's bros or the manosphere and all these, clearly those are negative kinds of terms. And if you talk down with them or you make them part of the problem, or it's all because of you and your fault, then of course they're going to find an alternative, and that's what they've done. That. And I believe in having a conversation on anyone that's playing it straight. I'm delighted. I'm happy to be on your show or with Joe Rogan. I'm a fan of his as well too, or Bill Maher. All of these people. I think having a conversation with anyone that wants to play it straight. I think we should be talking to as many people as possible. And it's undeniable that Democrats have lost a lot with men. And I'm not sure where we're able to bring that back without a long-term kind of a strategy to re-engage them, because it's undeniable. There's been serious erosion.
Well, there have been social forces at work for many years. Women have advanced and a lot of guys have not. And we need to address that, I think, before we can say what the Democrats have to do.
Wow.
But,
wow, they're asking about rhetoric that pushed away men, and they keep spewing the same rhetoric. This is it right here. This is the nonsense right here. These people, bro, they don't see themselves, bro. They cannot reflect and look themselves in the mirror. This is so crazy. And watch, now he's going to keep talking and saying a lot of things that make sense. Watch how they cut him off in his segment.
let me ask you this. While Democrats work on fixing past mistakes, a lot of Americans are disturbed about the future. Trump is terrorizing migrants by threatening to call on the military to round them up on U.S. soil. He's also imposing tariffs that everybody says could send prices soaring, and threats to punish the media who don't fall in line. Of all of that, Senator, what worries you the most?
None.
Well, I mean, nothing really worries me, because right now nothing has really happened yet. I mean, Trump now is 6 weeks out before he's even going to be inaugurated. But America signed up for this. It's undeniable. He won the popular vote, and he ran the table, including my state as well too. This is what America decided. So this is definitely going to go in a direction that I'm a lot of Democrats aren't going to agree with that. But I'm going to be a part of that conversation. And there's going to be plenty of people that are going to freak out, or they're going to have these kinds of extreme reactions. But I won't be one of them. But I'm going to.
Wow, he's talking about them. He said have these kinds of extreme reactions like the one that Joy's having. He said he's not going to be one of them.
Have these kinds of extreme reactions. But I won't be one of them. But I'm going to react, and I'm going to be very selective on picking my own fights on that. And I just have to, I think two things are true at the same time, whether it's like the border or whether it's with abortion or other these kinds of issues. I've been very clear on some of those things, but it's undeniable the Republicans now have the ability to run that table, and our party is going to have to respond. And I think we need to be smart and pick the right fights and not get all worked out over every last thing.
John, I gotta go.
Wow.
But I'm thrilled that you came to us today. Please thank Senator John Fetterman, because we are on our way out. And
Wow. There you have it once again from the blind. They need to change this name from the view to the blind. I love it. They were not expecting everything that they asked him, right? On the Hunter Biden pardon and Trump, pardon January 6th, he was like, I don't care about that. When she tried to fear monger and say, well, are you worried about this and this and this and this and this? Nah, I ain't worried about that. He's not, he hasn't done anything yet, right? They were not expecting him to respond this way at all. He went in the exact opposite direction of how they planned or wanted it to go. So I love it. Appreciate that, John. Let me know what you guys think. Let's talk about this video in the comment section. Hope you enjoy the content, guys. Hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting the subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.